Thank you for joining us on the final part of our journey through Agile. To build on the last two lessons, which concentrated on the Agile Manifesto and Agile frameworks, I will now introduce you to the Agile practices and tools that enable this methodology to work. You will also learn more about the structure of an Agile team, including roles and responsibilities. First, let's list the tools and practices you will learn in this lesson. And these are user stories, daily stand-ups, sprints and iterations, sprint planning and retrospectives, and backlog refinement. We will also recap on Kanban boards and pair programming that you learned in part 2 of these Agile lessons. We'll start with user stories. User stories are short, simple descriptions of a feature or function written from the end user's perspective. They typically follow a simple format. For example, as a business user, I want customer types of new and existing so that they have different discount levels. You can see from this that a typical format of a user story is, as a type of user, I want some goal or objective, and this is the reason I need this feature. A well-written user story will help development teams understand customer needs and help them to engage in meaningful conversations with the owner of the user story. This will help to provide a basis for estimating workloads. A popular tool that's used for creating and tracking user stories is Jira. It allows users to break down epics into smaller stories, assign them to team members, and help in tracking their progress. In case you are wondering, an epic is a large item of work that could be broken down into smaller manageable tasks or user stories. It could be a feature, an objective, or an initiative that spans across multiple sprints or iterations. Jira joins together the epic-related work items or user stories, which can then be managed and tracked on a Kanban board. This provides a high-level overview of progress and a way to track and manage the overall scope. Now let's look at daily stand-ups. Daily stand-ups are short, time-boxed meetings, usually 15 minutes, where the team gathers to discuss progress. Each member answers 3 key questions. What did I accomplish yesterday? What will I work on today? Are there any blockers? This practice enables team communications, helps to identify impediments quickly, and ensures everyone is aligned on goals and priorities. When face-to-face meetings are not practical, Agile teams often use Microsoft Teams or Zoom for virtual meetings and Miro for visual collaboration boards. Now we can look at sprints, which was touched on in part 2 of the Agile lessons. Sprints are fixed-length iterations, typically lasting 2 to 4 weeks. At the end of each sprint, the team delivers a potentially shippable increment of the product. As the increment number increases with each sprint, the product backlog reduces in size until the project is completed. This approach allows for frequent feedback, course corrections, and faster delivery of value to the customer. Sprint planning happens at the beginning of each sprint, when the Agile team finalizes the work that will be completed during this period. This activity involves selecting user stories from the backlog, estimating effort, and assigning tasks. Sprint retrospectives are held at the end of each sprint. This is when the Agile team reviews what went well, what could be improved, and what actions need to be taken to make future sprints more effective. These meetings promote continuous improvement, transparency, and team accountability. The backlog refinement involves regularly reviewing and prioritizing the product backlog to ensure that it is up to date and reflects the project's current priorities. For example, we start with a product backlog as seen here, and at any time the priority of a work package could change from priority 1 to priority 2 like this. New work packages could also be added and prioritized accordingly. For example, 2 new report work packages may be added, with one of them being priority 1 and the other a priority 3. In addition to this, other work packages could also be dropped if not needed. For example, this priority 4 design work package. Regular refinement helps the team stay focused on delivering high-value items into a sprint. Jira supports backlog refinement with drag-and-drop functionality to prioritize tasks and attach relevant details. Just as a recap, we'll look at Kanban boards. Kanban is a visual method for managing workflow. Sprint teams create a board with columns that represent different stages of work. For example, to do, in progress, blocked, and done. Tasks move from one column to the next as work progresses. Let's have a quick look at how this may look on day 5 of the sprint. At the sprint planning meeting, 8 tasks were put into the to-do column, but now on day 5 things are looking very different. 3 work packages are in the to-do column but are planned to be started and completed in this 15-day sprint. 3 work packages are actively being worked on, 1 work package is blocked and 1 is done, which kicks off the early delivery increments to the business. A Kanban focuses on limiting work in progress and reducing bottlenecks. It's a great way to provide visibility of the workflow. You may recall from the previous lesson that we talked about pair programming as being one of the 9 key practices of extreme programming, also known as XP. This is a method that can be used in any Agile approach, not just XP. Just to recap, pair programming is when 2 developers work together at one workstation. One writes code while the other reviews each line, ensuring code quality and knowledge sharing. This approach can also result in faster problem solving as 2 perspectives are tackling the same challenge. The final piece of the Agile jigsaw is getting the right team in place to fit all these practices together. If you have already seen the Agile section of the Complete Software Testers course, this will look very familiar. There are 3 main roles involved in Agile Scrum teams: the Scrum Master, Product Owner, and Development Team. There are usually 6 to 12 members in the core team, but this can vary with some projects having many more. We will start by looking at the Scrum Master role. A Scrum Master has to wear many hats and has a wide range of responsibilities. These include facilitating daily stand-ups, which are short meetings where the team, or squad as it's called in Scrum, can get together to help each other resolve any issues. This is more often done online using tools like Zoom or Teams. The Scrum Master will also run both the planning and retrospective meetings at the beginning and end of each sprint. An important part of the role is training Scrum teams in Agile practices and principles, and then ensuring these are followed. In short, Scrum Masters are trainers, facilitators, and organisers, and they are there to oil the wheels, not manage the project. A central role in Scrum is the Product Owner. So let's see where they fit in by looking at a product backlog. The Product Owner is responsible for maintaining the product backlog and providing vision for the project. This can be achieved by engaging directly with business stakeholders. The Product Owner is the primary contact between stakeholders and the Agile team. This enables prioritization of the work packages that give the most benefit, so they can be delivered in the early sprints. In summary, the Product Owner is the main decision maker in shaping and scoping the sprints, in this case Sprint 1, by deciding which work packages should be delivered first based on stakeholder input, business value, and customer needs. They are not usually involved in any active sprint where the work packages are delivered, but they are a key participant in the sprint planning process. They can also offer guidance on the daily stand-ups if needed. The final role to discuss is that of developers. This blanket name covers the people who have to deliver the packages. Let's look at the mix of skill sets usually involved in delivering the work packages. We can do this by examining the product backlog. The first set of work packages is for the design work. This could be a collaborative effort between a business analyst, a technical lead, a software developer, and business end user. Or it could be just a business analyst and technical lead, both writing the design based on conversations with the product owner. So what's left? A network specialist is required to complete the network work packages and a hardware specialist to install the new servers. The software developer is also involved in the low-level coding and will unit test their work. Finally, someone has to complete the test work packages. This is likely to be 1 or 2 test analysts, depending on the size of the work packages. And we may also need a test lead to manage the test exit report. We can now look at the collective team. It's a simple setup. made up of, firstly, the Scrum Master who orchestrates the activities. You could liken the product owner to a composer. They decide on the content of the project because their role is to manage the product backlog and prioritize the work packages to be delivered in each sprint. Then there is a team of developers. This is the orchestra, with, of course, some help from the conductor or Scrum Master. Developers are a self-managing team with a mixture of skill sets. They are responsible for committing to and completing the work packages in a sprint. You should now have a good understanding of the Agile team and how the Scrum Master, product owner, and development team can knit together the values and principles of the Agile Manifesto and the popular frameworks using the core practices we discussed in this lesson. I hope you found these lessons useful. For more testing insights, use the link below this video. There's lots of useful lessons there. And please subscribe to the channel. It helps us to create more free content. If you found this video useful, please hit the like button for me before you go. Keep testing and improving,